Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. What a dagger to my heart yesterday's game was. And I am sorry if I didn't go live yesterday evening. I was tired, I got back home from uni late. And I'm very disappointed. I'm extremely disappointed because number one, coming into the game, as I kind of made clear in my match preview, I actually thought that we were going to go through yesterday evening. I thought that it was the perfect time to face Milan. I thought that it was the perfect game. Also, on a psychological point of view, you drew last second against the best team in Italy at time of speaking. So also in preparation of this game, I expected better. I expected something else, and I ultimately expected to go through. But maybe if I'm exaggerating too much, I expected a better performance. I expected more concentration because yesterday's game, I'm sorry, but yet again I am here in a match reaction, repeating the same things every single time. You get a dagger and you stab it to your chest. If you present yourself to a quarter-final of a tournament that you really have your eyes on, and you prepare the game like that, and you defend like that, then I'm sorry, but why do we even present ourselves to Milan? Why are we even bothered to travel to Milan? That defense yesterday, I am not kidding you. I am not kidding you when I say that that defense yesterday was about as useful, I'll say it again, as a knitted condom. How can you defend like that? Number one, against Milan, who've got quality up front. Number two, in a game which decides everything in 90 minutes, which can give you the access to a semi-final in a cup that this season had to be one of your priorities, seeing how this season is going, in a cup, in a tournament that you have failed to qualify for a semi-final over the past 8 years. And I see that. And I see that and I see that willingness on the pitch. And I see those lacks of concentration. And I say stupid defensive mistakes, hesitation to actually try and win the game. When are we going to change this? Because I feel like every time I want to see my team react, and every time I want to see my team push for something big, I can't get that something big. And I'm more than mad, I would describe my feeling as disappointed, because I think this tournament this season had to be one of your priorities. I think this tournament this season not only had to be one of your priorities, but if you treated it with a lot of concentration, I actually think you could have gone quite far. Because teams tend to snub this tournament. But we are the ones who snub it. And look, I've got a lot of points to go through today. I do want to speak about the lineup, the formation. I want to speak about this attitude that we need to get rid of, or I'm sorry, we're just not going to go anywhere. I want to speak about one of the most disgusting things is something, not to you necessarily watching, but I hope that it's a minority of the things that I have read coming from our own fan base after yesterday evening. I think that with these fans, we will never succeed. I've come to the conclusion that until the mentality of some of this fan base doesn't change, we will not succeed, because these fans are the ruins of this football club. So I've got a lot of things to speak about. Also, I want to speak about Tammy Abraham, because I know that a lot of people, and the Tammy Abraham's gesture, what he did, if people didn't understand, I've got my little speech on Tammy Abraham prepared. First of all, just a little, again, introduction, looking at what this tournament would have meant, and now that we've crashed out of it, what it means. First of all, it meant it was a chance to get, number one, a silverware, and number two, a chance to get European football via a third path, which was the Coppa Italia. You decided this season, not only to be shit in the league, you've also decided to be shit in the Coppa Italia, which suggests to me that you're going to go all in the Europa League for yet another season. And this is what happens now. What happens now is, yes, okay, try and climb positions in the league, but that's not the priority. The priority now is the Europa League. Now, do I think we'll win the Europa League? No, I don't think we will win the Europa League. So we're back again where we were at the start. And we will never get out of this loop. And I know that this season, as I've been saying since September, is a season that I'm the first one to say you can't count this season because you've made suicidal mistakes that you're just impossible to evolve after seasons like this one. I agree. But that is why you had to care about the Coppa Italia. That is why you had to be more determined to go through in the Coppa Italia. That's why you had to focus largely on the Coppa Italia. You decided to be shit in the league, to snub the Coppa Italia once again. You've got the Europa League left. If you snub the Europa League, if you get eliminated against Porto, my season's done. As far as I'm aware, my season is done. I will have no motivation again because we won't get in the Champions League. And we will probably, if you don't care about the Europa League now, we will probably not even get in the Europa League. So instead of moving forward, what we do is move backwards here. So as far as I'm aware, go well in the Europa League. Because if you crash out of the Europa League, I don't know what we're supposed to do from here till May. What we're supposed to do? Shoot our balls during a weekend? I don't want to do that. So I expect a reaction in the Europa League, and I expect something maybe out of the normality in the Europa League, if I can call it like this. Right, I want to speak about the lineup because I think I want to connect the Ranieri topic, the disgusting things that I've read towards the Ranieri, and the lineup all together in a little comment. I will be honest with you. Ranieri made mistakes yesterday. Yes, absolutely. Now, is the fact that Ranieri was appointed Roma manager in the circumstances that he was, that he came out of retirement and everything to do it, is that an excuse to never criticize him and always defend him? I disagree. I think yesterday we can all agree on the fact that he made mistakes. Because I think if you still insist on Zeki Çelik, I'm not sure what he still needs to prove to you, especially now that you bought Wrench. Number two, I think I like, again, people will attack me after I say this, I like Shomurodov's determination. I like Shomurodov's willingness. I like how Shomurodov, fights on every ball he receives. But you cannot possibly present yourself in a quarterfinal in a direct game at San Siro against Milan with Shomurodov up front. So Shomurodov shouldn't have started yesterday's game. Çelik, why is he still starting games? Why is he still starting games? Number three, I don't think Pizzili should have started yesterday. I think El Shaarawy should have started yesterday. And number four, I think subbing Paredes off after half-time completely destabilized that midfield. Because Paredes is the only one who gives equilibrium to that midfield, which is why in that second half, every time they attacked, it felt like they could have scored a goal. He made mistakes. Ranieri made, probably for the first time since he got appointed, needs to be told off for some decisions that he made yesterday. But what I have read online in the space of 24 hours is something disgusting. And I will say it once again, until this fan base, until this club does not get rid of this weak mentality, until the minority, because thank God it's the minority, until the minority, which can easily become the majority though, of this fan base doesn't grow up, we and winning trophies will forever follow different paths. It took one game for the manager betrayal, shoot the gun fans to come out of their holes and start questioning Claudio Ranieri. I am speaking to you, are the ruins of this football club. With your sensationalist comments, and all of these comments which are only aimed at seeking attention on social media, tweeting, commenting something on Instagram's comment section, Roma's Instagram comment section, going Ranieri, idiot, just to get clicks, just to get the most likable comment on an Instagram page, or tweeting things like, comparing pictures of what Juric pulled as results and what Ranieri pulled and say, I miss Juric. I have read the absolute everything in the last 24 hours. I have seen fans, which I don't call Roma fans. You can be Roma fans in your perspective. To me, you're worse than Lazio fans. And I've got no problem saying this in your face. I'm somebody who doesn't hesitate. If one of you guys is watching this video, I proudly say that you are worse than Lazio fans. Because this weak mentality that this football club has is all because of you. Is all because of people who can simply not be balanced. Attacking Claudio Ranieri. So all of a sudden, throwing shit at his face, spitting in the plate of Claudio Ranieri, and completely forgetting where Ranieri picked this football club at, why Ranieri is here accepting this Roma job, and what he did to be in this position coming out of retirement. If you touch Claudio Ranieri and question Claudio Ranieri, you're a dickhead. You're not a fan. You're useless. You're a filthy worm. Okay? You can criticize him because he made mistakes yesterday. But questioning him is on another level. And I will not tolerate this. And I will defend that man until I'm on this earth. Okay? And these are things that really piss me off. Because there's a majority of Roma fans which fights every day to achieve the best mentality out of this football club. There's a majority of this fan base who cares about this football club and wants this football club to evolve on a positive note. But this majority is being dragged down by the minority of fans which simply live off sensationalist thoughts and can't be balanced for a thing in their life. Second thing, sticking in this fan topic, is Pisilli. Similar discussion, very similar discussion to Ranieri. Very similar discussion. Very similar discussion. And I have no problems in saying these things. I am somebody who genuinely does not give a shit if I offend anyone. Calling Pisilli shit is another example of why we will never evolve. Because it's been a few games now that the Pisilli tantrum has started. It's been a few games now that Pisilli hasn't played to the level that he was earlier this year. And so everybody's starting to throw darts at him. You know, darts? Shit darts at him. Hate comments on him. Oh, he is simply playing because he comes from the youth setup and he's a Roman. Pisilli is simply not good enough. Kick him out of this football club. He's only around because he's a Romanista. Or I've heard things say, Pisilli is shit. The same people who say that Pisilli is shit are probably the same people who are mad that Roma got rid of Kluivert, got rid of Schick, and want all of these players back. Not understanding the difference between a player being shit and a player not being mature enough is simply ridiculous. And if you can't tell the difference between being shit and not being mature enough, then you should stick to golf. Or better, horse riding. Because football isn't for you. Because football isn't for you. It simply is not for you. So I advise you to change sport, change passion, change hobby, Because if you can't distinguish these two factors, you're simply ridiculous. You're embarrassing. You're embarrassing. Because now all of a sudden, now that Pizzilli's vanished away, now that Pellegrini has vanished away, because Pellegrini is not playing well, now that Pellegrini is vanished away from the radars, now that everybody has attacked Pellegrini, this percentage of Roma fans now feels like it's time to change scapegoat, and the new scapegoat will be Pizzilli, because he's Roman, because he comes from the Rome setup, youth setup, because he's 20 years old. We will never grow. The truth is that we will never grow. With that being said, I think the reason we lost yesterday's game, number one, is defensive mistakes. I think there are ways and ways to lose a football game, and yesterday's game is one of the last categories on how you lose a football game. That defense is shambolic. That defense is abysmal. That defense is too weak. Like, you cannot concede 3 goals all because of yourself. Now, the first goal, okay, I agree. The first goal maybe is not necessarily our fault, but man, who the hell is marking Tammy there? Like, I know, fair play to him. He jumped very high, got the ball perfectly, angulated the ball, bottom left-hand corner. I agree. Well done to Tammy, good goal. But he should never be allowed to jump like that, in that way. Second goal, second goal is just undescribable. And third goal is the classic goal where Hummels tried to do the offside trap, but it failed. And then once the offside trap fails, you don't have anybody behind him marking him, João Felix, who scores. So those 3 mistakes can't happen in a game like that one, you know. And it makes me worried, because we're going to play hopefully so many other direct 90 minutes can change you the season type games, that if that's the way you approach them, you're going to lose all of them. So, look, the first reason is that. The second reason is an attitude problem. You can't step up on that football pitch like that. When we scored Dovbik's goal, we could have easily reopened that game. And when we scored that goal, it felt like we conceded the third one. It makes no sense. We're too emotionally weak on that football pitch. We're too emotionally weak, and we're way too emotionally unbalanced. That in a moment of the game where you score a goal, you're reopening, you've got plenty of time left to equalise the game, you don't believe in yourself and you concede a third. Which are things that you can't explain at this level. You simply can't explain them. There are so many emotional jumps in our football games that it's simply not possible to continue like this. And the third reason why we lost this game is because of quality. As much as Milan, in my opinion, on paper this season, are not necessarily better than us, I feel like a club which buys João Felix, Santiago Jimenez, Kyle Walker, Bondo in the midfield, Sotil up front, a team which has that winter transfer session is a team that immediately has more quality than you, and is a team that aims at improving itself. You know, what won them the game yesterday is the board realizing and actually understanding the term revolution. Very two similar teams with two very similar boards, both American boards. Milan and Roma having very similar seasons, changing managers, fans protesting, players not good enough. One of these teams aims at improving these mistakes by having a very successful January transfer window, adding quality, adding experience, adding international names like João Felix, who plays in the Champions League, who's played in the Champions League, like Santiago Jimenez, who scored 3 goals against Bayern Munich 2 weeks ago. One of these two teams does that and improves and wins games. The other team wants a revolution, speaks about a revolution, And the revolution doesn't happen. And that revolution consists of signing a scrap from Galatasaray, a scrap from Twente, and a scrap from Ajax. And I'm not criticizing these players. I've never seen them. I want to see them because maybe they can change your season. But the truth is that one of these teams signed top players who are top players, and one of these teams signed scraps everywhere around Europe. So how are we supposed to win games? Because the problem is the board. Because the core problem is the board. A board which doesn't care in improving. A board which doesn't care about making this team and giving this team a winning mentality and making this team a winning team. A board which is incoherent. A board which speaks about revolution all through October, all through November, and partially through December. Comes January, that revolution doesn't happen. That's the problem. The problem is that. The problem is exactly that. Because if this game had been played 2 weeks ago, we could have gone through. But they've added the quality, and that third goal, Santiago Jimenez to João Felix. Go. New signings, done. Win you the game. You see what I mean? The problem at this football club is the owners. And until Father Dan and son Ryan don't sell this football club, we are victims of their arrogance. We are victims of their prisonry. We are victims of their inability to successfully bring this team to winning days, to winning mentalities. Because, and people will go, Milan have got money because they're in the Champions League. And I agree with you. Of course, the financial problem is a problem. Milan had more money to spend because they're in the Champions League. Yes. But a team which needs to improve, even if you don't have the money coming in from the Champions League, digs in a pocket and puts the money on the table. Because there needs to be a revolution. Because there needs to be a total clear out. And a total change. Because if the 6th of February of 2025, I still start with Zeki Çelik on a football club, on a football pitch, then you're not improving. You're worsening yourself. You're weakening yourself. So yes, okay, the financial gap is massive, and if we don't get Champions League football, this gap will only grow bigger, and it will be impossible for us to catch with them. But in these times, after seasons like this one, after these mistakes that you've made, from the first one being sacking De Rossi in September, you need to make up for it. You're multi-billionaires. The only way you make up for it is if you put your hand in your pocket, get some cash, and put it on the table. Okay? That's the only way you improve. Otherwise, we're here every 2 weekends. We win a game, we lose a game, we get thrown out. We win a game, we lose a game, we get thrown out. So, that's what I will say. Oh yeah, and then the last thing, Tammy Abraham. People have asked me to explain to share my opinion on Tammy yesterday. Not on the goals. I mean, Tammy is a Milan player. He can't not score against us. That's. I mean, yes, we're cursed because he's been shit this season, and all of a sudden he scores 2 goals against us. But you can't do anything about that. Well done him. I wanted to comment on the gesture that he did. He got subbed off. Boos came from the away end. And Tammy basically went like this to the fans. Going, why are you booing me? We won a trophy together. And you can tell that he was disappointed by the boos that he received. And then post-match, he in the interview, he said that Roma means a lot. And, these Roma boos have hurt him because he gave a lot for Roma. We won a trophy together and everything. My comment on this is, the first thing which I would say is, did he expect a standing ovation? Did he expect claps coming from the away end? Because if he was expecting claps from the away end, then he's just dumb. Then he's just stupid. He's been booed for basically 1 year straight. In the last year he was a Roma player with us. And all of a sudden he expects Roma fans to clap him? Like, no. That's not how football works. Number 2, I don't look at the gesture. Because I actually feel like, I actually think the gesture comes from his heart. I've got nothing against Tammy. You know me. I've liked Tammy. I've loved Tammy. I've defended Tammy a lot. You know me. You know what I think about Tammy. No problem with the player. No problem with the human being. No problem with the man. And I'm not even looking at the gesture. It's a gesture which, in my opinion, came from, you know, his heart going, I'm disappointed. You know, we won a trophy together. But the thing which he got wrong here, which he can't not expect to get booed from, and which he can't expect to all of a sudden act like the victim, is the fact that we've been waiting for you after you broke every bone in your leg. We waited you for a year after you broke everything in your leg. We waited for you after you made some mistakes, which not even a 2-year-old would have made, which some people would argue fucked our season last year. We waited for you. Some of us defended you. And all of a sudden, the first chance you have to go away from Rome, you go in front of the microphones and say, at Milan, I have hired the bar. I am happy to be here. I've always wanted to be here. At AC Milan, I've hired the standards. Which is true. Which is true. Because it is true. Because Milan are playing the Champions League. So let's not act as if it's not true that Milan has higher standards. But you don't say these things, dear Tammy. You don't all of a sudden, after the fans wait for you, after the fans, you know, wait for you after the mistakes you made, which, or I mean, some of the mistakes that he made are inexplicable. After you tore the ACL, you come back, we wait for you, you leave, and the first thing you say is, at AC Milan, I've hired the standards, I've hired the bar. Even if it is true, you shut up. You don't say that. So you don't all of a sudden expect Roma claps. You justifiably got booed because you did not respect what you did. And you didn't respect the fans waiting for you. With that being said, he's there to score. And, you know, he shouldn't come back. He shouldn't come back for us. And he shouldn't come back for him. So, dear Tammy, tell Milan that you want to stay because we don't need you and you don't need us. And with that one, I'm going to end it. Roma fans should not have done anything rather than booing him. You know Roma fans. Like, you know Roma fans. You know who we are. You can't expect Roma fans, after those comments, to not boo him. You know what Roma fans are made of. You know how Roma fans act. So, you know, right. I mean, look, the Europa League is our last hope. If we crash out of Europe, then I genuinely will have nothing else to say this season. If we crash out of Europe, it's gonna be so bad. Like, we genuinely fucked it up on every single front. I expect big things in Europe. We're not gonna win it, but I expect us to believe in it, and I expect us to try and go as far as possible. And yeah, we've got a very complicated game on Sunday against Venezia. Again, Roma fans being done dirty. Another game where the away fans are banned to travel. We'll speak about that in the match preview because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, the treatment that these Roma fans have. And yeah, with that being said, I'm very disappointed. I thought that we could have done something bigger in Europe. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, you know, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll respond to you. If you comment down below today, I will respond to you because I'll make it up for not having read many live chat comments today. So comment your little thoughts on yesterday's game down below, and I will sure read and respond what you think. I'll catch you tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe, and yeah, we move as always, as we always do. Bye bye. Have a good one. Simo out.